Welcome to today's webinar, where we will get exciting insights into AI-powered search and GEO. Why is brand management the new performance engine? My name is Isabel, and I will be your moderator today. Before we start, let me just inform you that the session is going to be recorded and that you will receive the recording in the next couple of days. And there will be, of course, a Q&A session at the end of the talk. So if you have any questions for our experts, please be so kind and note them into the question field of the GoToWebinar, and we will collect all your questions, and Alexandra and Jan are going to answer them at the end. If there are questions left where we don't have enough time, we of course are going to answer them in written form and send you the answers together with the recording. Now let me just welcome our guest speaker, Jan Königstätter from Otago Consulting. Hello, Jan.
Hi.
Hi. He's joined by Alexandra Vetrovsky-Brychta, our Chief Growth Officer, and I'm very happy to directly hand over to Alexandra to save valuable speaking time.
Thank you, Isabel, for that very nice introduction from your side, and good afternoon from my side. I'm really very proud to host today's webinar. It's dealing with such an important topic about AI search and how this impacts our everyday marketing and revenue game. The amount of people who are joining us at the moment really showed us how important and how really up to date this topic is, and that there is a challenge where we have to face and where we have to find solutions. With me is Jan Königstätter, and I'm really super happy to have him because he's one of the Austrians kind of leading experts for SEO, SEM, and GEO. Jan has founded Otago Online Consulting, and the purpose of his agency, his company, is to help businesses boost their digital visibility. So Otago and his team is also helping us at CELUM to be found, to get visible in the internet, because I'm speaking here in my role as Chief Growth Officer, where also the responsibility is that we are getting found, that we are providing all the relevant content information to be found, to get found, and to be visible for prospects, but also for our customers. And I'm very, very happy that our agency Otago is helping us with that challenge and is now providing that knowledge they have from a variety of customers to us here at the webinar. Well, what the goal of today's webinar is, and what you should get out of it, is that, first of all, I will give you a short intro from my view about what is the challenge and why this shift, what we are facing now, is such a problem or such a chance or such a risk or whatever for us marketeers. Afterwards, Jan will take over to give you an overview about the AI models, the AI engines, agents, and all those things, to make a deep dive about what's the impact of the shift, of the change on our funnel, on our lead generation, on our traffic topics. Lastly, we will definitely try to provide some answers how we can tackle the challenges by, for example, brand management, by digital press work, reputation management, storytelling, because it is so important that we are doing something and not just sitting there and waiting and, oh my God, what we're doing now, but it's really, really, really necessary to be active and to try new things. And yes, Isabel already said it, of course, we will have some time, and we have reserved some time to also answer questions you are asking us. And please write them in the chat. We will go through them, and if the time is not enough, we will definitely provide you answers afterwards in written form. Well, for us marketing, revenue responsible people, it is again this time of the year. It is shopping season, aka Christmas season, and year-end season. We have to close our deals, we have to fulfill our revenue goals at the end of the day, and it has started. Black Friday kind of is making the beginning every year, but wait, something happened. Something is different this year. Yeah, there is a new player in the playfield, in the game, artificial intelligence, and its assistants or agents. ChatGPT launched his shopping assistant. I think most of you have read about it, or even are facing the first impacts maybe already. His shopping assistant, and they made it right in time for Black Friday. I think it was the 24th or 25th of November when they launched it. And it kind of reframes the product search, because it's not really the assistant where it's already going to buy something already, but which is helping you to find products quicker or services quicker and more convenient, not without doing much research in the web, but with just prompting one question. So, but what does this mean now for the work of us? Because product search online, it's nothing new. There has always been kind of product search, and we have to provide product feeds, metadata, and all those things to to be found in the web. So what does this mean now for our everyday work, or where's the change? Well, for me personally, I think that we have now a new target group, and we have to include this new target group in our go-to-marketing activities. We have to treat it really as as we have our human target groups and personas, we also have to treat AI as a special target group. And we have to make sure that we dedicate resources to this new target group. In the same way as we do it to all the other target groups we are attracting and we are targeting. We need, as I said, dedicated resources. We need content and campaigns for this new target group. So then we can ensure that we feed that new target group, we feed the artificial intelligence with the relevant assets to the right touch points and always up to date. And I think this always up to date is very, very important, because the goal should be that the AI agents are consuming these materials, these assets, this information, and making the best out of it, to summarize it, and that our visibility will benefit from them. Because what we have also seen is that it is highly important that the AI is not only taking things, what she's reading on websites or on price comparisons, but she's also comparing the reputations of the company, of the brand, of the products, of the services. So it's also what content is being produced from the original content, so third-party content, we can call it like that. It's maybe not the right expert term for it, but for me it's kind of third-party content, which is very relevant for artificial intelligence. And now I really would like to hear, and maybe if you have already some experiences, please write it in the chat. Who is already treating artificial intelligence as another target group in his go-to-market strategy? Is someone here in the audience who already did that, who already really have maybe a person dedicated who really treats AI as a specific target person? If so, please write it in the chat. I would be really, really loving to discuss this also later, because I am also learning in this field, because everything I learned many, many, many years before, during my career also, is now changing. And what is changing and what we have to change. Now Jan is stepping onto the stage and will give you a deep dive into the topic, how AI is searching and what you should do now. So then I'm handing over to you, Jan, and I am very, very interested in all your findings because I think you and I know that you have prepared some very interesting news and also really hands-on tips what to do.
Thank you, Alexandra, for the nice introduction. I hope everyone can see the slides. Maybe thumbs up. Yeah, thank you, would be great. For me, it's very interesting to see, if you look a little bit back, that there have been two persons already making two statements very, very long ago. Eric Schmidt from Google in, I think, 2008 already said, brand is the answer, brand is the solution and not the problem. And later on, Sundar Pichai in 2016 said, we are an artificial intelligence company, AI first company. You have to remember it 2016, and if you look 2016, maybe we didn't anticipate where it's going, but I think they already had quite a clear image where they will end up in the next decade even. And yeah, I think we can skip the introduction. We already had some, and maybe you're getting also the slides as a PDF, so you could also look it up, and we save this time. We are talking today about what is at least the acronym in the German-speaking market is quite clear. It's GEO, Generative Engine Optimization, sometimes also pronounced GEO, but in the international market, it's often also covered as AIO, Artificial Intelligence Optimization, or answer optimization. We still see there are multiple acronyms. It's a moving target. It's a new discipline, but at the end, it means it's a process of adapting the content to appear on a generative AI search engine or an assistant, and it's about improving a brand visibility and influence the AI generated answers. At the beginning, I will just cover some basics so that we get on the same level, and then I think we approach the topics how to improve your visibility in the assistance. Just for the beginning, we will cover the main three possibilities you might appear in the browser. Beside the slides, I also prepared, hopefully you can see the browser. Yeah, it's possible to share it like this. I think where you can at the moment have the most visibility, or at least the most visibility you can track easily, are AI overviews. AI overviews are simply generated answers for informational questions within the search. I searched here, for example, how to migrate Pipedrive to HubSpot, and you see there is the AI overview. You can look at all the details. What is important to keep in mind, it's quite often on top, but not always, and it's at least a chance to appear as the brand. But there is also a clear focus from the search engines that it's a zero-click experience, which means that in the best case for the user, you don't need to make a click, but you get all the information with the display simply. It's not for every industry the same, but I would say it's not so much about the industry, but about the search intent. So AI overviews mostly appear for informational questions, like I had as an example, how to migrate. So this would be really important in the upper funnel. So especially the upper funnel is strongly impacted, and we also see it in the numbers for customers. When you have a good informational blog, you might have the same ranking positions, but you're losing a little bit of traffic because simply people don't click on the answer if they have the answer in the search result already. So it's about information. Then there are the AI assistants. ChatGPT really made a kind of revolution in 2002 when they launched their chatbot. As you can see, you can for example, research, like for digital asset management providers in Europe, and then you would get a list of providers and where they are very strong or bad, or where they could catch up. As you can see, I made also a ChatGPT. Most of you know it. It really also depends if you have a paid version or a free version, how well the system answers. But overall, this is the next possibility to appear. And the third one is more like a hybrid, which is like the AI mode. Most people don't use it yet, but I think Google will strongly push and promote it, which is a hybrid between a search engine and an AI assistant like ChatGPT. If I have to sum it up with more like a picture, I would say that the AI mode is more like a person who is working in the library and reading 10 books for you and giving you a summary, while the AI assistant in a classic way would sit on a desk and write you a summary without looking up in the internet or these 10 books in the library, so to say. For those who didn't see it yet, this AI mode, it looks like this answer. And on the right hand side, you can also see sources of the summary, which are, of course, good chance for you to appear in the sources, in the trusted sources. You influence the result, and also people might click on the sources. So this is the way to get also traffic to your site. When we are talking about traffic, one has to say that although it's a hype topic, it's not so much about the traffic yet. If I compare the numbers to the clients, I would say that on average between 0.5 and 1.5 of organic traffic is coming from AI systems. Of course, we can't measure everything. Like if you are using Microsoft Copilot within Word and you are getting a summary, we won't see it. It's just about traffic which is getting to your site. So numbers are still low. There is still a discussion how the real world impact is. Some people report that there are higher conversions. I have to say, I doubt it, to be honest, if you compare to other channels which are lower funnel, because the click in an AI system means that you already passed probably the phase of the upper funnel. To know how to improve the system, I think it's worth to know how an AI system is actually working in the background. And one of the major steps compared to the past is that AI systems use the web in background for research. When ChatGPT started in 2022, one of you might remember that you could only ask information which was published up to 2022, and in 2023 you couldn't look up new information. This really changed nowadays. Nowadays AI systems use the web as a background database, so to say. So a user might ask a question, the system makes the decision whether information is needed from the web or not. For example, up-to-date information, local information, could trigger a web search, or the information is simply not in the learning material of the language model. So if we see that information is needed, system will make a web search, and this largely depends on the model. If it's a non-paid version, a pro version. So to generalize, I would say if you are paying, they might take more time and makes more research for the answer. If you're not paying, less research is done in the background. And then the language model prepares finally the answer and gives you the chance of a citation. So your website or your other sources like social media could be the source. If there is no web search in the background, then the answer depends on the training data. And for example, for ChatGPT, it might be 2024. and the system is providing the answer, but you're not getting a citation. Best case for your brand is that you're available in both web search and training data, of course. Benefit of web search is that you still also have good performance for a classic SEO traffic. If there is a web search, and this is maybe a little bit more complicated stuff, but I think it's then easy to grasp where you want to optimize. First, you are asking a question, and the analysis of the question, nothing else, means that there is a conversation. So maybe it's not like you're treating one prompt like it's a search, but it's taking into account previous prompts. So you're asking maybe in multiple steps. And there is a so-called query fan-out in the background, which is nothing else than more than one web search. So to give you an example, if you're searching for best energy efficient washing machine under $600, there might be searches in the background like top rated energy efficient washing machines, reviews 2025, the comparison, Energy Star ratings, and so on. And the grounding is nothing else than cross-referencing the gathered information with reliable sources, so that you are really having more fact-checked answer at the end. These subqueries of query fan-out, while this might look complicated at the beginning, actually it's not a rocket science. In most cases, the system is looking either for reviews, best lists. It's adding very often the current year, so getting the latest information. And this is the main opportunity for your marketing, because if you're showing up as a source in these fan-out queries, or at least you are mentioned as a top provider for your products or for your services, this gives you the chance that the language model then makes the answer, including you. There's a pro tip for you, which I won't show in detail here, but I think if you get the PDF, for ChatGPT, you can check the queries in the background. It's not always working, but most of the time that you can find in the network, the queries which are sent in the background. For those who want it a little bit easier, I also added a link to a tool where you can use a kind of simulation for Gemini, which is the model of Google. So like for this example, how to make right CRM data from Pipedrive to HubSpot, you would see like 10 queries where it would be best if you are either mentioned or a rank in the classic search engine, so that you are getting visible in the answer of the AI assistant. This brings me also to the point for the discussion SEO versus GEO. Some people for the last 30 years, so to say SEO is dead. I think it's still the basic foundation we will see, but there's definitely a shift from counting the clicks to fight for trust, for visibility. Although I have to add, at the moment, not so easy to measure, which I think will be a challenge for the next year. SEO is still a good starting point, because you are laying the foundation for GEO. You're making sure that you are visible in search engines, which means you are visible for query fan-out, which makes you a base for the answer when an AI assistant is using the web as a sort of database for the answer. So this means still classic keyword research, making sure that your website is crawlable. All this stuff is still important for the future. I think one of the main differences is it's to become a trustworthy site. It's not about the content on your web page, but also how people talk to you about you on the web. So your brand isn't just what's on your website, it's about how you are described everywhere else. And I think Alexandra already said it in the introduction. It's really about consistency. And I would also like to pass on this question to Alexandra, how to create consistency in a complex multi-channel work.
Yeah, I think that's yeah, 1,000 euro question out there, because there also AI came into the playground. Yeah, because before AI, not everybody was capable to create content. Now you can more or less say, and I'm not talking about the quality of the content, yeah, but from the capability, from the view of the capability, it is really super easy to create content nuggets, videos, texts, even press releases, yeah. And I'm not saying that those are then good content assets, but they are content assets. So more or less everybody can do anything with the little help of our new friend, artificial intelligence. And here comes now the real challenge for us marketers, and especially for the brand managers, that we have to make sure that all those content nuggets, those new assets with those new possibilities, this big amount of content which is getting produced these days, is consistent with the brand guidelines, but also consistent with the storyline a product has, a brand has, a company has, a service has. Because as Jan, you said, the AI agents, they are not just taking content assets they are finding on other websites or on social media or wherever. They also taking those newly generated content from that assets. So the reputations, and this is where it is really so important that we ensure that we, on the one hand side, democratize the content so that everybody has access to content and can use content which is produced by us under our guidelines, and that they also can distribute it. So, and to be honest, this is not doable and manageable without the help of a tool, with technology, of course, because there are so many amounts of content, and even if you have one content, one visual, for example, for a campaign, you have to make thousands of amendments to bring it into the relevant formats of the different touch points. And also there, it is so super necessary that the brand is consistent, that the logo, for example, is still in the visible section, because if this is then published and AI is taking it, it has to have the connects with the logo, for example, and the visual or the text, so the story behind it. So I really can everybody just make a big shout out that it is necessary that you have a centralized technology, a digital asset management. Of course, I'm saying that from CELUM, a digital asset management, who is helping you, who is kind of the masterpiece in your content strategy, in your content supply chain, to ensure that the content is consistent, because this is so important. Consistent, but also in the meaning of up to date. How often I also, when I am searching something in Google, or if I'm using AI, and I think AI will definitely then give you some penalties if there is then found product information 3 years, 4 years old in the first or second rankings. And this is what I also can highlight, what Jan said, is SEO is not that. You still have to make sure that you have your basics in place with your SEO strategy. And this is also, and they're also a digital asset management. A tool is so super helpful because of the metadata, for example. Yeah, there is still an impact of that, and you still have to take care about that this is correct, that this is relevant, and that this is up to date, and you have always the current information there. Because if the AI will not find you, also your customers and your potential customers will not find you. So you always have to make that in your minds, that you have to be visible for all your target groups, as I told at the beginning, and therefore the consistency is really necessary and is kind of the game changer. And everybody who has done really, really good work within the last years of brand management will have now kind of a competitive advantage, let's call it like that, because then you have made a super good job and your reputation and your story out there in the digital world is already there and is already consistent. For all of you who have not done that and who have put enormous focus and pressure on performance marketing, do it now. It's not too late to start. It's never too late to start. And it is really necessary to start now with consistent brand management, with consistent producing of content, which is applicable, where the brand guidelines of your company could be applicable. And so therefore I'm handing back with just really the shout out of don't do it alone. Don't try to use various Excel lists, SharePoint, whatever. Really use technology there. Digital asset management will help you there definitely, because it's a single source of your content, of your brand assets, and of course of your campaign assets. But because we should never forget also the campaigning aspect. It's not only the content and not only the assets, but you also have to manage the campaigns with that content.
Okay. To see the result, what Alexandra mentioned, I think we look on the next slide. The two, I would say, new KPIs in a GEO world would be like your brand mention or your citation, just to make sure that everyone understands the difference. A citation would be that the artificial intelligence links to your site or content as the source. The distinguish between site or content is simply there because you might think also of your other channels like LinkedIn, your podcast on Spotify, your YouTube videos, and so on. And AI brand mentions are when your name is mentioned, hopefully in a positive way, but maybe also sometimes in a negative way. And to have a better grip for that, I would recommend to think about a prompt monitoring. Either you set it up yourself, you use an agency, but I think a prompt monitoring is to become a basic necessity, although I have to say it's not that easy to come up first with good prompts, what I'm going to monitor. And the second is the systems are still very volatile. So it's not like a ranking where you say, I'm consistently on a ranking for a certain search phrase. You have to think that these AI assistants, if you're asking the same question, you might get two different answers. So different sources might be cited or mentioned, different brands. But if you are monitoring a larger amount of prompts, you are still getting an overall good picture for yourself. And I think even more important, about your competitors. Because the citations or brand mentions of your competitors give you a very good idea where to place your own brand to get higher visibility. So monitoring the results for your competitors, I think, is the next logical step. For the question of content, I think it's always a good question where to start. And I would say is start with answers of real customer questions. This has been true for classic SEO, but is more so true for GEO. And also for this, I would like to pass on to Alexandra, that she talks a little bit how to tackle this in a real world.
Thank you, Jan. So this is really one of my kind of favorite topics, because how should I frame it? It is kind of with every day when we are thinking about what content or what should we create, how should we address our customers, our target group, however, we always have to think about what is relevant for them, yeah, because if it's relevant for them, then they will consume it, and then they will also find or get the added value what we are suggesting them. And therefore you should always use your audiences, the data, the analysis from your audiences as a base to create content. And even when we have when we're facing fewer clicks, less traffic, yeah, it is still the thing that it could be that it is the kind of, it's getting more relevant. Why it's getting more relevant? Because we are providing them content that answers a real question, that gives a solution for a real problem. So therefore, the kind of individual creation of content really tailored to the needs of your audiences is also one of the success factors in that game. It's not the amount what you're producing, it's the quality you're producing. And as far as I know, and as far as I have understood Jan now, quality and relevance is really king, yeah, in that game, about visibility, about what AI is really looking for, because this is also the thing about the reputation. Your reputation is then good when you are providing quality, when you're providing real solutions, and when you are really to the point, so really on point for the problems your audience has. And this is one of the basic principles of marketing and also sales. What we had the last, I don't know, since I'm working in that industry and in that field. So it is always, we don't have to invent all new, just really step back, think about what are the principles, the basics of our marketing, of the go-to-market strategy, and use this also for artificial intelligence. There is not a really completely new invention of the whole marketing. It is just thinking it a bit differently to as I said in the beginning, and I can't say it enough, to treat artificial intelligence as a target group, as a target person you wanna feed with relevant content, and that real, and also the artificial intelligence has questions, the questions which your customers are asking artificial intelligence. It's just a kind of a Sprachrohr, I don't know the word now in English, which is transporting, which is bringing the questions and the problems from your customers to you. So therefore, really also big shout out for content which is helpful will succeed in the game. And sorry, but just one question, just what I mentioned there again is, you have to really to make sure that also there you do this in a collaborative way of thinking and way of doing, because it is very easy said what I told you now, but the doing itself is not that easy, yeah? Because you have many touch points, many data points, you have to connect, you have to manage all the involved parties who are creating that content nuggets, and the value chain is very, very big there and very complex there. And so also, don't do it alone, don't do it freehand style, use a tool for a really collaboration in the content production process.
I have also a slide for this question about the answer real customer questions. I think what we really have to keep in mind is that a prompt is not written like a search. You are really giving much more information for a prompt for research. Think of if you are looking for a CRM system, you might add your industry and company size, which means on the other hand, if you're like a software company providing a CRM solution, you also have to have a page where you are writing how your solution can work, for example, in real estate. Really, if you have a product or a service for multiple industries, make a blog page where you're describing how your solution is helping for a specific industry and solving specific problems. People might still look up for information for the upper funnel, even if your traffic is dropping now, maybe a little bit in upper funnel. It's still important because simply AI tools are using the web for their research to prepare their answer. If you're not providing the content for the upper funnel, you are simply also not appearing in the information of the AI systems. Other easy touch points are, of course, sales. Always sales knows a lot what customer really needs. You can look online, and you can even leverage AI itself. Use AI to cover maybe needs you didn't think of. AI assistant really reshape how B2B customer journeys are now. In the past, it was said from Google research that to a first touch point, people made at least 7 searches in B2B until they got to someone they are really going to contact. Of course, this varies muchly depending on your service or product, how complex it is, but still people will research. But I think especially for complex situations, they will save a lot of time by using AI assistants to make them a short list so that they have an overview of solution providers. So this, I think, will really change how B2B marketing is going to be. And I mentioned here some review sites like Trust Radios or G2. This is really industry specific. You have to research where the information for AI systems is coming from. Best lists, user information, and so on. And for the customer, I think the shift is already starting. I teach also on some universities. If you talk to students, of course, they are preparing also for my lecture. I have to say everything with AI. They are not putting so much effort into group work anymore, but they are using it a lot for research, product research, like for the Christmas list. And I think this is also a great chance to be visible. Like in this example, I made a screenshot for what is the best coffee maker for camping. I have a gas stove. So this is more like the prompt side, adding additional information. I wouldn't have searched it this way for a classic search engine. And on the right-hand side, you can see that a shop is using a best list with the 7 best camp coffee makers. So if you're running an e-commerce, I have to say, make your own best list. And of course, 7 of 7 are products you have. This is the way to go. So you can be the source. But in other situations, like in services, it's very common. Make sure that you are mentioned in the best list you see on the right-hand side to make sure that you as a provider show up as an answer. So this is really also something I would recommend as a quick hack. If you don't manage to be visible in the free space, don't worry. I'm pretty sure that within the next years, you will be able to buy your spot. Google won't leave any money on the table. They have all their ad systems already, I think, in preparation. I'm very confident that next year we will see some solution also for Gemini. For ChatGPT, you never know. On one hand, there are rumors that they are preparing everything. On the other hand, there are rumors that maybe they postpone it because it's easier for them to raise money instead of really offering ads at the moment. But in the long run, visibility won't be free forever. I think we will see in the upper funnel, it will be harder to be visible simply because you won't get as much clicks to your website, which means the upper funnel is taking place on a few number of platforms. Might be ChatGPT, who knows, maybe Apple is still in the game, Google. But at the end, I think we will get also possibilities to be visible again for money. If you want to stop guessing, of course, this is my sales pitch slide. You can have a free quick check if you follow the link or use the QR code. But you can also write me a LinkedIn message. My profile is linked at the end of the slides. And before we come to the last slide, I wanted to give you a little bit of an outlook, which is, maybe it's not the most sexy slide, I have to admit, but we are currently in the transition to the middle. We are just at the beginning of the generative engine optimization game and the usage. And you already can read about agent or agentic web. Don't worry that much, I think, for next year, to be honest. The transition will be maybe in the long run faster than we think. But on the other hand, I would say that at least the next 2 years, people will still use the system. Not an agent will make your shopping or order for the services. So we have to focus first on the basics so that you don't lose the game here. There's still most of the traffic, and prepare for the next step, which is, I think, GEO. I would say that's it, and maybe we go on to the questions. Just a reminder, I would be happy to connect. And I think I stopped the presentation.
Thank you, Jan, so much for those insights. For me personally, they were really interesting and helpful. And as we have talked about content that answers real customer questions and real customer problems, I hope that we also have answered some of your questions, as most of the audience here are customers from CELUM or soon to be customers from CELUM. So, well, to sum it up, so there are really, there is just one quote what I would say. You have to do something now. You have to start, because not doing anything and just waiting what happens will definitely not help you. If the AI is not finding you, you will not be found by your customers in the future. We are on the beginning of the journey, but it is always good to be a front runner in that game and not one of the last ones who then is just picking up the breadcrumbs what the competitors have given them. So therefore, getting started. Jan from Otago is here to help you, of course, and of course we from CELUM are here. I would be not a good chief growth officer if I not also do a sales pitch at the end. So if you want to do get support in brand management for creating brand consistent content assets, managing them and delivering them to touch points, please contact us. We are here for you in helping you with that challenge to get visible, not only for artificial intelligence, but also for your customers and for the just normal SEO, because that's not forgotten. It is still there, and we have to play on both playgrounds at the moment. So, talking about questions, we are a bit over the time, but I think it was worth that we used some more time and gave Jan that opportunity for his insights. So, Isabel, are you reading them or should I?
As you wish, I can.
Yes.
I will start as usual from the first one upwards. I think this is one definitely for Jan. Thoughts on JSON LD and its impact on GEO?
That's a very tough one, because there's still a discussion going on about it and the impact. Just to make it short and not losing everyone else for this question. Yeah. It's like you can imagine there is sometimes for websites information in the background, and where there is still some discussion, and I think it really depending on the system we are talking about is whether the AI is getting the information like you get it, the full browser view and loading resources in the background, or is it more like I would say old school web engine, just seeing some text? And Mark could get a more complete answer for me in later, maybe on LinkedIn. But the short answer is it depends. Like we have seen these fan-out queries. There, probably it's adding a lot to the search engine, which works more like a web browser. If it's just like a trained answer in the LLM, so it's not using the web, I would say it doesn't matter, but there is also some discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry for the complex answer.
I thought that it would be a complex one because it's a very tricky question. Is text-based content really the most impactful content type in terms of GEO?
I would say at the moment, yes, but I'm a little bit careful about it because like YouTube is also a great training platform for all. Why I still say it's the most impactful, I think it's easier to scale, which is changing since we can also now generate videos. But I would say in that aspect, maybe videos or images are a little bit less important, but I would say video is sometimes a little bit neglected discipline, especially for B2B. I think you might see there are less searches and so on, but you might be also the only one who is providing information on a video.
Okay. If AI generic answers still involves companies' old products, so the ones no longer online on the website, do you have any recommendations how to improve that?
Yeah, limited, to be honest. I mean, where you have the control is about your own content portfolio, if you manage, like with the digital asset management, so that maybe the information is up to date. And in the long run, I think all the content will be in a way disappearing in these AI answers. But as we all know, sometimes AI is also giving maybe not the best answers.
How important is alt text for AI when it comes to images?
For this, I think this is a controversial topic where I have a personal opinion. So just to point it out, this is my personal opinion. I'm not a big fan of alt text, except for accessibility. So other people who maybe have reasons why they can't see the image can still get some information. Why I'm very skeptical about alt text is quite simple. Image recognition is actually a quite old discipline. I can't imagine that a search engine is relying, or an AI system, on the information I'm providing about the image compared to the way they can interpret the image nowadays. But to be honest, if you ask someone else, they might give you a different answer for this.
Mm-hmm. Shall I do another one, or will we answer the rest?
I think we can take one more and provide the other ones then afterwards. But I think one more could be done. Or Jan?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I think this one will be interesting for a lot of people. How will we be able to properly measure impact in the zero-click world?
Yeah, as I said in the webinar also, I think there is still a challenge ahead. We have multiple tools which are simply not they are not perfect. Like we could measure the traffic on our website, we could make a prompt monitoring, which is a little bit sketchy, but if you are monitoring a lot of prompts for a lot of systems, it might be still a good one. But then we rely maybe also on old school marketing, brand research, how your brand is recognized. But on the other hand, I'm also a little bit optimistic that in the long run, or maybe mid-run, maybe 2 or 3 years, once the platform give us ads systems, I think we are getting much more data than we are getting now. It's very often to see, once you can make some ads, you also get some information in exchange.
And that is really a great, a great final word about that, because it is not about that we are losing something, it's that we're getting something more. And with the data, it kind of changes which data we get. I think there will be other categories of data which we can use and should use. And this is the thing, how we should tackle that situation. It's not a threat, it is a chance. We should see it as a chance, because there is so much potential to use this shift in your favorite way. But it is necessary that you're getting active, that you're doing it now in a way, the AI prefers. So be aware of your brand, be aware of your reputation, be aware about the quality of your content, and stay active and be kind of a first mover and front runner. We are there to support you in that challenge, to be front runners and to become also super visible in the digital AI era. Thank you so much for taking the time and participating to today's webinar. Thank you, Jan, really for sharing those super good and very interesting insights. And I wish you all a very nice time till Christmas. It's not long to go. So have a nice time, have a nice day. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.
Bye.